it's not in your DNA to be in sales, you don't truly enjoy it. If you have the wrong personality profile, you're going to burn out. You're not going to be fulfilled.
50 deals a year to 100 to 120 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Walk us through that.
With how big of a team?
We had a pretty big team. We had 9 offices over 4 states. We had a call center in Belize that had 75, 80 agents in it. I think I can't tell you exactly how many employees we had, but it was north of 200. We had 5 or 6 acquisition agents in each office, 2 to 3 disposition reps, tons and tons of lead managers. We had a full executive team. I think 9 executives, CEO, COO, director of marketing, director of lead management, director of dispositions, acquisitions, title, and director of people. So it was a pretty robust company.
Wow. People tend to overcomplicate it's just, there's not much information out there, so they overcomplicate everything. It's just, you really need the acquisitions, you need somebody to manage everything in between, dispositions, and then for you to get someone to expedite the acquisition side, you need the leads to come in a faster form and fashion. How did you scale it? What was your role in the company?
So I was the COO for a period of time up until probably year 4, and then I transitioned to CEO. But, everybody in wholesaling, especially, they think they need a COO, right? That's like the buzzword. It's the magic word. I don't think that that's true. I think you need a badass director of sales and somebody that has a pretty good understanding of marketing. And that's what I did the entire time. Like, my title was COO, but I'm not good at spreadsheets. I'm not good at math. I'm good at building sales teams. And where you could, even when I was the CEO, where you could find me most of the time was in a market covering training or recruiting. If the market was down, I was there building it back up, making sure that it hits revenue. So eventually over time, our director of marketing, we identified, was far better at what the company needed from a COO perspective at the time. And we made that transition. And he took my job and my title, and I kind of went titleless for a while until, the partner that I had decided that I was the fit for the CEO role.
Yeah. So for somebody who's leading individuals and is a sales trainer, walk us through how you would actually get somebody who's in a marketplace that's not producing to produce.
Yep. It's really dependent upon the person and why they're not producing. So you have to truly understand them. One of my favorite sayings is seek to understand before being understood. And, there's could be 15 different reasons why they're not producing. But I believe that there's 4 main pillars that make up a salesperson: attitude, work ethic, skill set, and strategy. Right? Attitude and work ethic are the sole responsibility of the sales rep in itself. Skill set and strategy belong to both. The skill set has to be transferred from the sales manager to the salesperson, and they have to be coachable enough to take and build upon that skill set themselves. The strategy has to be given by the company. And so, you have to determine where's the deficit exist inside of the salesperson. And, once you can understand that, you coach to the deficit. If they take to the coaching and they get 1% better and make changes after every encounter, there's somebody that I would consider continuing to invest my time and resources into. And then if they don't, it becomes a very easy decision.
Yeah.
So if they got the attitude, if they got the work ethic, and if they're coachable in the skill set and the strategy, you begin to shape and form them into what you want and give them the skills, breathe the skills into them that will help them become successful over a period of time.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. No, I love how you said that, those 4 pillars, because there's that military analogy that they say it's logistics before tactics. So if you're going to go conquer a country, you need to make sure you have the logistics of where the food, where the water is going to come so they can survive. And then the tactics come second, because how you're going to kill the enemy doesn't matter if you can't survive on your own in that land. So the attitude.
I like that.
Yeah, right. So that what's on their side is more important, because that needs to be there, and you can build the foundation if they're going to absorb the information, be coachable. Is it fair to say with what you said that if they have a good attitude and they're coachable, they'll be a great salesperson then? Those are the 2 indicators?
No, it's not fair to say at all. I think that they could survive for a period of time. And, most of the time, the plague that exists in most sales organizations is, number 1, bad leadership. Number 2, bad management. They're 2 very different things. And number three, a lack of accountability bakes in between there, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people are good at hiding mediocrity and they do just enough to survive, but not in one of my organizations. And so they can have attitude, they can have skill set, but we're going to push to become the best version of yourself. And if you don't have not build, if it's not in your DNA to be in sales, you don't truly enjoy it. If you have the wrong personality profile, you're going to burn out. You're not going to be fulfilled. There's a ton of people that have the title of salesperson that have no business being in sales, but just because the company tees them up with enough leads, they're not held accountable in such a way that they can survive and be in sales, forever. The average salesperson makes like $40,000 a year. The average realtor makes like $20,000 a year. Like, they're okay with mediocrity, but I want to run a high performance salesperson, and you have to be in it. You have to love it. You have to live it. You have to breathe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There's definitely an obsession factor with learning the skills and seeing where it can take you from there. And it's like when you see somebody light up when they try something that they're learning, then that's when you know they're going to actually be successful, I feel, because at that point in time, then that's where the obsession starts.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Or when they see that the new skills that they're taking in are actually working.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with me. One pickup line worked and I was like, I'm using this even more. Now I need to learn even more.
So he's going back to the dating analogy.
Yeah. So the dating analogy is essentially dating is like sales, right? You're going to open up because your physiology is telling you need this woman's attention, right? So you're going to try it. You're probably going to get shut down the first couple times. And then eventually you're like, oh, she smiled when I did this or I said that joke. And then you're able to say, okay, I got one step better, another step better. And you're able to build on that skill level that wasn't there before. The biggest obstacle at least in real estate sales is finding the people who want to put in the work. And there's not many that want to put in the work, or they have a false idea that it's an easy industry to get into. That's where actually using leverage of people internationally, like you have a call center in Belize, right? We would use a lot of people in the Philippines. Their work ethic was a lot more, was stronger than the people in the US. So it was harder to identify those kind of struggles. How would you coach someone through that, or what advice would you have?
Coach them through what?
So getting good people, good quality people to actually want to work.
Yeah. So I think it starts with understanding who you are as a person, understanding what your mission and your purpose is. So I have a story that I tell pretty often. It goes back to early stages of our company when we had core values that we created that we kind of identified with at the time. They were very dominant core values. Like I'll give you an example of one. It was crush the competition, right? And the mission and the vision and the purpose of the company was to make Rhen rich. And I was having a very hard time recruiting and attracting the type of person that I thought I wanted, right? So the people that I could get were the cigarette smoking car salesmen, right? They were just beating down the door to come in. But who I wanted was the elite, high class professional that was very focused, very career driven, family oriented, wanted to better themselves, health, fitness, marriage, had the high morals and really wanted to help. That's kind of what I had the vision to have. But we weren't casting that mission. We weren't casting that vision. And so I think how you have to recruit those type of people is you have to be very clear on your mission and your purpose. You have to craft it in a way to attract people. And so going back to the example that I was going to give, I was trying to hire a videographer and I couldn't find one. And I kept raising the price. And so I'm sitting in church one day with my wife, and we go to this church in Alabama that puts on this great production, right? The best musicians, the best singers, the best video, the best audio people, the best photographers. It's breathtaking. It's like you're at a concert, and I'm looking around and there's all these videographers there. And I kind of look at my wife and I'm like, hey, how much do you think they pay these people? And she's like, Rhen, you're a dumbass. They don't pay them anything. They work for free. And I was like, work for free? And I can't pay one? And I'm like, hold up. And so I started thinking about that. I'm like, well, why are they here working for free? And the first answer was like, well, duh, God, right? They're here, they're serving God. But I wasn't okay with that answer. I was like, it's got to be something. What is God? Well, if you think about it from the most macro standpoint, God is community, connection, and purpose. And then the light bulb went off. And I was like, nothing about my company says community, connection or purpose. And so I went back to my partner and I was like, listen, we are playing checkers. We are not playing chess. We have to rewrite the mission. We have to rewrite the purpose, the values, what we stand for, what is the narrative of what we're doing in the community. And so we got to work, and we made it a people and a service based focus, right? Our slogan at the time, I think, was improve lives, elevate communities, challenge the standard. And we made it about improving the community. And as we started doing that, we rewrote the values. It just magically, we were able to attract people whose purpose aligned with that. If I'm out selling somebody on coming to work at my company and they're like, what do you guys do? It's like, well, we buy crappy houses, we fix them up, and we make a lot of money on it. And they're like, sounds okay, or sounds sketchy. And then they go to Google and they search in wholesaler and they see, predatory type language. And they're like, yeah, I'm not leaving my job at Salesforce or my job at this, really well-to-do and well-branded company to come work for this little 2-bit wholesaling shop. But when we change that narrative and align it with a greater purpose, one of good, people can come in and get behind that, right? Everybody wants to help people. Everybody wants to improve the communities. Everybody wants to be in a place where they are rewarded for their work. And so you have to rebuild your purpose and make sure that it has connection, community, and purpose. And once we did that, the recruiting piece become much, much easier. The culture became much, much better, right? I'll give you one example of a shift that we made. We have a Slack channel, and when we would do a deal, we would post in there. It would say something like, man, just got a 30K banger, right? We're making $30,000. Like, we stopped doing that. What we started doing is if we get a contract, we still celebrate, but we celebrate the impact that we had on that seller's life. We tell their story. And then, so now our reps are going home and they're sharing the stories of how they've impacted people every single day. And they're telling their wives and they're telling their coworkers, or not their coworkers, but maybe fellow church members or people at the racket club or people on the golf course. They're like, man, and you make how much money doing that? And you get to help people doing that. That sounds way cooler than what I do every single day. Like, how do I get on board with that?
Yeah.
Right. So, with that, the reverse of that is nobody's going to go out and just brag if it's all about money.
Yeah.
Right. And what they're doing to make the money. And so I think you gotta really have a strong purpose for what you're doing. And if you can influence that through community and connection, you're doing a better job.
Yeah. I think it reminds me of a time, like, as I was telling you when we were preparing today, that Kiro and I are both obviously realtors. And I remember I had a coach years ago, I think it was Kathy Anderson or somebody, who had told me, instead of trying to do 50 deals this year, we're trying to help 50 families, right? Because when you shift the focus from deals to families, everything else changes. But you can't just say, it's not just the words you use. You have to actually think, like, how am I helping, this family? And it's, they had a problem. It was selling the house. I was the solution, and we helped them get from New Jersey to Chicago, whatever it was. So just shift that mindset from deals to families, or deals to, how many people I'm going to help this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes all the difference in the world. It makes all the difference.
Yeah. They say entrepreneurs enjoy or love 5% of the businesses they have, and they hate the other procedures of the 95%. What drives you in your business?
I love building people. I love transferring the skills that I've acquired into others so that they can accomplish things that they never before thought were possible.